We're good. You're having trouble. Sorry for anybody that was waiting. Uh, which right now we're at 0, so we're good. Um, she had she wanted to shower and all that. We've had a long day today, and my work called like after 9 o'clock. We got stuff going on tomorrow that I had to be aware of. Okay, I can't remember all what we talked. Sadly,
Everything.
yeah, we kind of discussed everything. We want to try to be more organized with it. But you probably saw on the blog the other day where I posted a toxicology report. The one we've talked a little bit about this. Oh, I got that paper got wet. But we're going to go into more detail. Hold on a second. It's kind of the story, but before we go, if you guys have followed us on Instagram or Facebook, you notice we did go to the bridge. We had a little date night Monday, and after the date night, we ended up deciding to go to the bridge. And
That's what we do on our date nights.
well, we didn't have the kids, so
Yeah, we go to places like that or cemeteries or just like cool stuff we like to do. So
yes. So, well, we took in the other way, like a really narrow way, and the hill steep, and
yeah, it was like a holler
yeah.
space in the middle of a town. Like it was insane.
You get off Howe Street and take a left, and then take a right, and then another right, and then yeah. But it was really interesting going there. Not with all this that happened, but you get to see it firsthand of what the site looked like. We went at dark, but you probably would have laughed at me because she did.
Yeah,
because I was petrified. Like
he's terrified of heights.
Because I've said in the last video, I'm terrified of heights. So that was, if it was probably daylight, it probably would have got to me more. But just at night,
yeah.
it was bad. Because I thought I went to take a picture like over the rail, and thought I was about ready to fall, but I was like really kind of like leaned out, but I wasn't really like going to fall over because I wasn't that far over anything. I still thought, so I ended up falling backwards and back into the road.
He tripped over the step thing and went into the road and was like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "It's the road. Like you're not falling off the bridge. It's okay."
Yeah, it was bad. But we got to see how everything looked, and
he has a little cross that's really sweet, and
yes,
there's Colby on it and stuff. And I felt really bad because I really don't like going to those places and doing things without leaving something like a flower or just something to like pay respect. And then I tried to search around in the dark for some kind of flower, but there was only like brush and trees. So
and trash.
I apologize for that. Yeah.
But
we want to go back, and I want to leave a flower.
Yeah, we'll probably go back in the daylight and get a better look at it. But I don't know. It's just still interesting, just the location and all that. Which did have a comment today in the group that was interesting. So we'll get into the little story part. Like I said, we talked a little bit, if I remember correctly, about this. It's been a long week, which it's been a long week for everybody with the virus or the coronavirus going around.
And that being said, like, be compassionate and think of others. Like, if you have elderly or people that have disorders that really don't need to be out in the public or something, or maybe somebody can't afford to go yet and you notice there's just a few left, like, grab them one, like, be nice. Don't panic and overbuy everything and leave children and elderly and sick people screwed.
Okay. I can't remember what I've done with that other paper.
You dropped them.
Oh, you get that for me. Thank you. I carry all my stuff in this, like every day in work. But let's click it.
I'm setting it there.
Okay. But the story basically, I kind of got burp, but sorry.
Nice.
But basically, like I said, we talked a little bit about it, but it's a group of friends. I've done this a lot growing up. They're playing Madden football on a PS4, and had packed a bowl of weed, and that's what has been told to the family at one of his friends' house. And according to the guy at the house and the other people there, Colby had won a couple games before six of them shared the bowl, which is nothing,
6 of them?
Before six young men shared a bowl, yes. It's wanting to come, but it's not coming.
That's a lot of people.
And it says one guy said that he had went down, knocked on the door. Well, from my understanding, from talking to his mom and stuff, I guess they had played, and then I guess from my understanding, after they smoked this or whatever, they were saying like, or if they hadn't smoked it yet or whatever, but somewhere along the line, after being there for a little bit, like he just went like completely different. I'd have to look. So that's kind of the story. Well, that's a possibility, but remember they also said the shrooms, mushrooms, and all that. But,
yes, I have some info about the shrooms.
But basically, they said like his whole thing just changed. Like he was laughing, joking, and then just basically went to being quiet. From my understanding, just not his usual self. Which, yeah, but still kind of still iffy on all that. But one guy said that he had went down, knocked on the door, because I guess Colby went downstairs, and another person said that he must have splashed water on his face because he was soaking wet. So either splashed water on his face, sweating, stuff like that. Another guy said that he watched him walk out, get into his car, and drive away. And Colby, he just went somewhere, and they have no clue where he went. This is what I find fascinating between all this. But after 15 minutes after he had left, they told the family they decided to become a search party, and they contacted all of his friends, well, his other friends. And after only 50 minutes, they had labeled him missing. That I find that strange, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, I think we talked about it a little bit in the last video. It's like if he leaves, like, aren't you gonna? That's my whole thing. Like, why are you not stopping him if he was like, I gotta go and all that? Like, why are you not?
I don't feel like he even drove. If that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, they say he just like walked out. Like he went to the bathroom, they had to like throw up or something, and just kind of left. Like it don't
But
it don't make
if they reported
sense.
him missing in 15 minutes, that's almost like they're trying to cover it up, like cover something up, saying, "Oh, he's missing." Like if he just left and it's been 15 minutes, I feel like the whole
It's like, well, we couldn't have done it. We were out looking for him within 15 minutes.
We called.
We're
the ones that called the cops. Like, no.
No, they didn't. But there's some other things that are interesting that kind of make me question that as well.
We talk about shrooms yet? Are we on that?
You can mention that while I'm going through this.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the thing about shrooms.
Did you read the toxicology report?
No.
This is the second one. Okay. Basically, I guess it didn't have all that.
Okay. I was talking about like how could he drive? How could he drive his car? Well, that's possible because when you do shrooms, it like everything like if you're gonna do them, like do it safely. Stay in a house. Like make sure like you have somebody that knows you're doing it. That knows like they're not going to be doing it, and you do it the right way and be safe. But with shrooms, you have to have a special test to even detect it. It's not going to show up in just like your regular drug screens. You have to like do a specific thing. And I also read that because I started researching it because I knew it had to have a special test, and it says that even with a special test, after 24 hours, it can't be detected. So depending on when they did this, like it could have already been out of the system, but I mean, like I don't know these certain things, but
Date of request was 8/26, date received 8/30, so I wonder if it was a few days afterwards. The way I would take that. I could be wrong.
I don't know what the specific test is called, like, because this is like lab language. So
I have more stuff that I just
like I don't know if they did the specific test since it was mentioned that he done it, but after 24 hours it wouldn't have been detected anyways. So the only people that knows about that is the people who did it with him. So and like saw him do it. So that could be a forever unknown. But also, if the weed was laced with something, like you gotta watch who you buy stuff from. Like you really, like I don't know.
Well,
it's hard to say.
from my understanding, the house that he was at, because with this is what lead news.
Yeah.
Because talk about that the guy that was at the house, he rented the resident from Colby's grandfather, pretty cheap, basically. Yeah, $200 a month. That's pretty cheap.
Oh yeah, that's great.
But they appeared to be friends because they were always hanging out, getting along. And Colby was last seen alive there, and he wasn't. They're saying he wasn't really close with the other guys there, but he went to play football. I've been to my friend's house growing up. I knew a lot of the people there. Wouldn't really call them best friends, but kind of friends. 'Cause I was around them a lot. But we always played Madden and stuff like that. Went outside, shot basketball. So I understand. This is basically I used to do that. I've actually never, smoked marijuana or anything, which I'm not against it or anything. I've been around it. Actually, playing Madden years ago, it got passed to me, but I didn't for one of our playoff football games in high school. But still, talking about playing video games. They shared the one bowl, but he kept talking.
6 people with one bowl is like usually if there's 6 people, you should pass like 2 or 3 around the circle.
Kind of thing.
With that many people. Well, I mean you don't have to, but
my incident,
one bowl isn't really gonna be.
They had a joint. It was 4 maybe that were smoking it. I think I was the 5th person there, but I didn't know. Or I can't. I'm trying to remember because I know how I was positioned, but might have been. I think 4 smoked, and I was the 5th person there.
Well, anyway, I don't imagine. I don't know. Never mind.
Okay, so basically, they repeatedly told them that it was bought from in Morgantown, that he had bought it. Colby had bought it. This is where that article says about that he couldn't get him to talk, and that he just stood up and said, "I don't know what's wrong with me." And that's when he would walk downstairs, go to the bathroom, and they don't know really what happened. Like, so they said he was either the wet face from using water, he was sweating. But would you like? So he's saying suddenly they couldn't get him to talk from just doing that. Would that, like, that I've never done it? Like, 'cause I don't really have personal experience, but would that get you that quick of a reaction to like, well, I don't know what's going wrong with me, just for that? Or like if you're saying it was if it was laced with something, could that have that effect? If it was just normal marijuana, would you have an effect like that where you're basically just shut down, not talking, and change your whole character and be like, well, I don't know what's wrong with me? And it's more like it's like.
No, I wouldn't be in a panic state like that.
Well, like if he didn't wet his face and say it was sweat, like what kind of reaction would he have had?
I don't know anybody. Like I know people throw up. Like if you've never smoked weed before, let's say you never smoked weed and you smoke a bunch of weed, like yeah, you could throw up, but that's the only thing I know of. Like I don't know if people having reactions like, sweating and freaking out, and like I've never been around anybody that's had that reaction. Like I don't know. Like I know people puke. Like also like with dabs, if you do a big dab, like you can puke.
Like I said, I'm not familiar with all that, so.
But like I mean, yeah, you could quit talking just because you get in that like stuck in the couch, like
mellowed out,
just like focus on something. But
if it was laced with them, which we wouldn't know what it was laced with, but like I'm thinking one of these other parts, it mentions that he might have not actually bought it in Morgantown like they're claiming. That there, was a story that went, I can't remember exactly, something about his grandfather or something following him. But I'm thinking if he, just for purposes here in this video, what if he did buy Morgantown? Okay, not like I said, not saying that he did, but I'm sure he would have bought it from somebody he knows pretty well. So that's why I kind
he went to
of
school there, right? Did he go to school there?
Cameron High School. I'm pretty sure Cameron High School's in Morgantown. That's where his mom and everybody's at, I believe.
Well, then yeah, it'd probably be the same person, unless like I'm not an expert on any of this at all, so don't like take me that way. Like I just know my own experiences with people. But
Everybody been around like mostly
like if
cops.
like say like his usual person that he got it from was out and he really wanted it, and like someone suggested somebody else, like that's not uncommon for people to do, because the people that say, oh hey, I know this guy, like if someone tells you like they're okay, like you might be like, well, okay, yeah, I'll get it from that guy this time until my guy gets more. Like, so it could have been a situation like that or something, but I don't know.
Cameron's not too far from. It's right up there. Right there's Willing, Moundsville, stuff like that. I've probably been in Cameron because I went to Moundsville. Right there's Morgantown, Cameron. So he was up that way. Like I said, even if he got it from up that way, it could have been from somebody, that he would trust. Because I had a friend that I worked with for 5 years. He had OD'd, but he OD'd on heroin. Like I said, he passed drug tests at work and everything. Great guy. But we always kind of wondered if there was more to the story because the situation that was going on, or there was a bad batch of it or something. But like I said, it's kind of weird because because like I said, I'm pretty sure, and later on in the articles we'll talk about, I think that he might not have got it there. So that means they could have had it, and they could have got something, laced with it. But I just don't get I don't know what's wrong with me, like, because with it suddenly, that's acting like he basically, did he just smoke it and then be like, did he just shut down? Like, still, even if it was laced, do you think he would actually just shut down that fast? Or
Depends on what it is. Like it honestly just depends on what it's laced in, or people soak weed and stuff. Like,
so you're saying if it wasn't laced and just normal, then that's a weird reaction for him to have.
if it was just pure bud, yeah, that's weird. I've never experienced it. I've never seen anyone experience it. So, not saying it can't happen, but as long like I've smoked a long time, and as long as I've been around it, I've never seen anything like that.
And my thing is, okay, hold on. So I'm assuming the six. That's what I'm getting ready to go into, Jessica. Because if there's a total, because it says before 6 young men shared a bowl. If this is including all of them, why is he the only one that had a reaction to it this bad? Like, because from everything I've read, talked to his mom about, like, none of them, I don't think, have seemed to have a reaction that's ever been told to them.
And if it was shrooms, the only reactions I know to shrooms is like you can get the shits pretty bad. That's the only one I know of. Now, I don't really know a whole lot about those, but, like, I don't know. That's the only thing I've ever heard.
That's why I don't.
So even if it was, like, even if they did do shrooms, like, I can look up reactions, but the only one I know of is, like, crapping yourself.
Yeah, like I said, that's the only thing you'd think one of them would have, even if they didn't have the same reaction, they would have had a different, a weird reaction with it, maybe. But if it was laced with
Yeah.
something, then they'd all, I would think, would have the same reaction. But it's still, even if he got a reaction left, like if he got this bad off that they were saying that he did, like not being himself and being like, I don't know what's wrong with me, could he have had something else going on at the time that nobody did? But he was young, healthy, he worked out and stuff. So,
But they've been doing a lot more studies on shrooms too, like, magic mushrooms, because they're saying that it possibly could treat depression in a more natural way,
mhm.
and instead of like having to take a pill every day. Like, I think what they're trying to test is that you do shrooms for a day, and then like you're supposed to be good for like 2 weeks or something. Like, that's what they're testing and like have volunteers for and stuff. Um, so I seen that. I don't know how that's gonna go because I don't know if people would be interested in that, and I don't know if that would like pass regulations. But I think it would be cool to like try out. Like, that's a really natural way if it works.
That's so good. Like I said, just the whole, like, if he had this bad reaction, he goes downstairs, goes to the bathroom, leaves. Like nobody really, like, all don't go. Like I would have went and got his keys or something and said, "Hey, you're not going because you're acting funny." Like but like I said, from all of this, with them, what would say two of them went down there. Yeah, one knocked on the door, another said that, and there's three. So that means if there's up to three people that seen him reacting like this and went downstairs to check on him, none. That means three of them were able to function afterwards and not have this type of reaction. Um, the thing goes on about talking about where they did not expect what to expect from the guy that was at the house. The main character in this um, was gone after Colby was gone. But they said they couldn't be surprised we've not heard from him since the funeral. I don't know why that is. So they were basically talking about how he was close to the family a little bit. He spent all the entire year with the family. About the whole renting aspect of that house, and they did a lot of favors for him. And it just seems odd that he just went away after the funeral, which kind of weird. Like, and this is the sister talking, Colby's sister, saying, I sent him a text on September 10th, and he replied, honestly, I don't know. I just know that what the state police told me. So here's where it talks about the magic mushrooms, because there was mention in that. Hold on there. Well, here it talks about the talk report that there are texts that the mother had got to be able to recover from her son's cell phone and digital footprint. And of course, there's evidence proving her son had marijuana he purchased in Morgantown. So if he did, that this says here, but I'd have to look. But it says that there was mention, about experimenting with magic mushrooms. Basically, was willing to supply a peaceful high. So
Okay, from everything I've been reading, a list of like side effects would be like anxiety or a bad trip, psychotic reaction, lasting perceptual changes. Like, I've heard that if you do a bunch of acid or like a bunch of shrooms, that it has lasting effects like your whole life. Like, you'll have, I don't know what exactly it is, but I guess like changes in your vision. Like, you'll randomly have like, I don't know what to call it. I forget what people have described it as. But like, anyway, like, you won't see like a hallucination just randomly down the road, but you'll have like little shocks of whatever in your eyes. But this says also impaired thinking can lead to dangerous behavior. And it said it is more common for the bad trips to happen in people who have current or past history or have immediate family like siblings, mother, father, who have a past history of psychotic disorders, including schizophrenia, bipolar 1, 2 disorder, the anxiety and the panic. It's like the loss of ability to comprehend reality, lasting an average of like 3.8 hours, generally does not require hospitalization, treatment with supportive care, and failing that, and then you could treat with like Valium. Like obviously it's just like a giant panic attack that doesn't stop for hours if you have like a bad experience, but it does say that magic mushrooms are it it is the third safest drug. All drugs can still be harmful under certain circumstances. And then it has like this chart, and it has the red is what's harmful, the blue is what's not harmful. So the first one is alcohol, and it goes down the list to like least harmful. It's alcohol, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, cocaine, tobacco, amphetamine, cannabis, GHB, benzos, ketamine, methadone, methadone, butane, cot, anabolic steroids, ecstasy, LSD, buprenorphine, I can't say that one, and then mushrooms. Like mushrooms falls last on the chart. And then it also says that if you think that you have mushrooms, like it may not also be mushrooms, it could actually be poison mushrooms. But if they all did mushrooms, like everyone else should have had that reaction too. So maybe they did do mushrooms. Like if they did, maybe he just had a bad trip and they didn't have anyone that knew about shrooms around them and didn't know how to handle it or take care of that.
But you're saying would they have had reaction?
Not as you like. I could take some and you could take some and I could have a bad trip. It says especially with psychotic disorders, like I'm bipolar. So if I was to have a bad trip or something, I'm more prone to it than you are. So I could have a bad trip and you could have a good trip and it'd be totally different reactions. Like you wouldn't have any reaction, but I could like fall over with a heart attack from the severe panic it caused. And it says that, where's that one thing? It says something. Yeah, it says it could actually be poisonous if you pick your own. Like, be sure that it's actually magic mushroom, not poisonous. And it says, for example, in weekly microdosing, like if you took very small amounts weekly, it could have cardiac effects if it's not done properly. Like, anything can be dangerous. Even if it's all natural, it can be dangerous. So you really need to make sure you know what you're doing, or at least consult with somebody that knows what they're doing. Like, please be safe if you ever think about doing it or want to do it.
So, if he did, so basically, like you said earlier, that within 24 hours, it might not show up. Well, after 24 hours, you said?
Yeah, it's basically like when you digest it. Like, it goes through that, it doesn't stay in your system like cocaine would. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Because it's a natural.
Okay.
And it raises like blood pressure and heart rate.
So maybe that could explain maybe the odd behavior.
Yeah.
If that's
true. If that's what happened, yeah.
See, that's like where it talks about, he had went to his class, which we talked about. He signed into, I guess that was an online class. Then he attended his class, another one. And he did that after going to the recreation center for his daily workout, so we know he's working out. And that he had remained on a promised scholarship after excelling his freshman year toward a degree in business field. Like, I kind of agree, because that's where we're too about, if you're planning to take your own life, why would you go to the gym to improve your body, then spend the last year of your life attending your class on the first day of school? That doesn't make sense, but
Well, this actually says about the vision thing I was talking about, like years down the road. apparently, like, that's called HPPD, and it says the higher estimate is 4.1%. The lower estimate would be 0.12%, two confirmed cases out of 16,192 people looking at the questionnaire. And then they say an approximately 500 Native American church members screened for our study who had taken peyote on at least 100 occasions over years or decades. None has described symptoms of HPPD. Finally, although millions of doses of hallucinogens have been consumed by millions of individuals since the 1960s, few large reported series of HPPD have appeared. So actually, I guess that's not common. Like, that doesn't happen for everyone. It's actually a rare thing to happen if you use a lot. Yep, that's exactly what I said. It says to avoid, like, bad things happening, read up on effects before taking it, have a sitter who is trained to deal with panic or anxiety in psychedelic sessions, start with lower doses before higher doses. So that's how you can be safe about it.
Like, we're not saying this is actually all what happened. This is just covering that angle of it.
That was just a really good article. I feel like that was very informational. Sorry.
But going back, about attending classes, like, it doesn't make sense, but not saying they did commit suicide, sometimes when that situation does happen, people will do odd things, I've noticed, with looking at stuff, but it seems like, because we talk, like, up here it mentions about, he'd moved into his apartment. He had no food in the refrigerator. He took, he had a beloved dog, which, which we have 2 dogs as well. I've had both of them for years. I love them to death. I couldn't imagine leaving them behind. So, like, I understand the whole situation with that. That's kind of what, like, do you think he would have spent all of his money or anything if he landed, like, just kind of go, like, have, like, a last hoorah? Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like,
not necessarily.
My personal opinion, looking at it just up to this point, like, yeah, you could say suicide, like we talked in the first video, but like I said, a lot of things don't add up, and it's just kind of the confusion around all of it. Because I don't know, it's just weird because, like, he's doing all this stuff, but it seems like something, whatever happened, it seemed like it clicked. If their story is true, then it seems like something clicked then that just went weird. Is what the way I'm kind of looking at it, like, right now up to this point. But going over the other stuff off video, it's kind of still awkward.
Yeah.
Because here it said he had plans with a female friend of his, and he even talked about being excited. And then here it mentions about that he had, planned on going to the grocery store and about what he needed and everything. Like, it seemed like he was really, like my friend that said it OD'd from work and stuff, because I just went with him and he opened up a new bank account. He was talking about the future and everything. That's why I don't think he intentionally OD'd on purpose, because he had lost his father years ago, but he just lost his mother a couple months before that. Like,
hadn't even clean a while before him.
Yeah.
Usually what people do when they do drugs like that, they think about how much they used to need to get high when they were actively using, and then they'll be clean for a while, and when they decide they want, well, not decide they want to, but when they end up relapsing, they think they can take that same amount, but your body's not used to it, and they OD. It doesn't have a tolerance for it.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying.
that could be what
I don't
happened.
think he intentionally meant to do with that. Like I said, he seemed to really be, even after his mom passed away, like, he really seemed to be doing better and stuff.
But all of this too, though, I understand that people would think, like, oh, well, they were going to do this. They had this plan, But I know, like, they say no one knows of a history of depression or mental health issue or anything. But with mental health and stuff like that, if he did or didn't, I don't know. But people do that all the time. Like, people still do their daily lives, still just do what they're supposed to be doing, what they feel like they need to be doing, making plans. Like, if you're out of milk, Like, you're gonna be like, "Oh, well, I need to go to the store to get milk," if you're talking to somebody, but then later that night kill yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you go about your normal.
I don't know, like, talking to his mother and stuff, like, they were very, very close knitted family. And, like, as close as they are, it seems like something of that extreme, which
Well, I'm not saying that's his case. I'm
I
just
know,
saying,
which most of the case, like sometimes people are very good at hiding stuff
like, people
from
are
their loved
using
ones.
that as
But I'm
reasoning.
just saying, like, they're very close that I don't know if he would be able to hide because, like I said, mentioned about, that, like, here, saying that he'd tell, she was bigger than whatever it was that she was sad over, that they had a bigger purpose than worrying about little things. Like, he was always a good person to his family, and told his sister, like, they knew each other 100%, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
that's why, like, people can hide stuff easily, but it don't seem. I don't know. I don't get that vibe here that he's going to hide something
I
that
don't
extreme.
either. I'm just pointing it out
Yeah.
because people are using that as reasoning, but that's not always the case, even if it was like mental health history.
Like, I personally think if he would have had an issue like that, I think he would have talked to his mom or one of his sisters or somebody and been like, "Hey, I need help."
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would.
I don't know. That's
I'm just
just the
saying this.
vibe I get. I know we're looking
Not
at
for
it from
this
every
case.
angle.
Yeah, like
We're looking at every angle. We're gonna go into the whole incident now with the whatever happened up there on the bridge. I don't know if you've seen. Oh, cord stuck. But I posted the picture in the group after we had went out there and stuff. I really don't know. Well, that don't make it, but it's well, you can't really. Okay, you can see it, but okay, you got over here is where he was at here, right here. Okay, that's his house where he would have lived at. That's the frat. Well, crap. Sorry, that's the frat house, and this is the bridge way over here. Um, it it really really goes. It's not anywhere. It's way out of the way. And okay, so he was coming. Okay, so like I said, looking at bridge. So he would coming from this way. Well, the car was pointing back that way, so he would have had to pass this and go back that way. So he had turned around at some point, or whoever was driving the vehicle, they turned around. That's what don't make sense. Like, which after you pass that bridge to go back around, there is houses right there.
Yeah.
I posted this on Instagram to get people's opinion as well. Let me get to comment real quick. That they went back for some reason. But our friend Chris, that makes the music for our podcast, he said that doesn't make any sense at all. If he was suicidal, he would have not went that far of his way to do it. That's his opinion. Like, that's a good point. Like, why? Like, if he was on doing this, why? Like, was he just out driving to see what was going on?
I don't know.
Like, and then like to do that, like for the car to turn back, like if he crossed the bridge and turned around and went back, if he just like drive by the bridge, like, oh, this is a good, like, I don't know. He's not from this area, so I don't know. I've never been to that bridge. Like, I've been underneath of it because I've been been on the interstate and stuff. So that's what I thought was interesting on that aspect. I thought Chris brought up a very good point. Um, Here it gets confusing as well. Okay, what that part? Okay, maybe. I don't know. That don't make sense. That's okay. But this is a gentleman that had contacted his mother, but he was forced to swerve around Colby's car on McCoy Road Bridge that night, and he and his wife parked at the end, walked back to see if they could help. Okay. He basically commented on, and he saw a story and decided to contact her. And he said that he drove over that bridge, and at that time there was a car parked in the middle of the bridge, like we explained in the first video, where roughly where the car was located, right in the middle, and that the door was open. He and the person with him parked at the end of the bridge and walked over to the car to see what was going on. So, from my understanding, talking with her, okay, you're looking at the middle of the bridge. The bridge is not very, like, it's, I would say a car, both lanes. Wouldn't you say so?
Mm-hmm.
But from my understanding, his car was more parked out to the middle of the road. So in the middle of the bridge, in the middle lanes, well, yellow lanes in the middle, with the door open. That don't give a lot of room for the car coming this way. So if the road, well, yeah, like we have a little car, so it'd been like we live up a single lane road, and somebody hogs the road, it's hard for me to get by. So uh, there's a good point made because the sidewalk is right there. So if you parked away from the sidewalk and the vehicle that he was driving, maybe the door would have caught in the sidewalk. So if that's the case, that means there's possibility somebody in the passenger door. I mean, not passenger door, passenger side that had to open the passenger door, and they couldn't open it because of the sidewalk. But if you parked away more towards the middle, so it'd be kind of like just stopping at an angle and then open the door and blocking, because you would have blocked pretty much.
Yeah.
We didn't test that out because it was night.
Cars were still,
there's
like,
only
there was a
two
few cars.
Yeah, there's two cars that went by while we were there, which they probably thought we were weird out there on the bridge, shining a flashlight, walking around. Well, light on our phone, walking around. And there's one car going.
I thought
went back
people
there.
were gonna think we were like so weird, so I had my flashlight on. Like when cars go by, I just like pretend I dropped something. I was looking for it.
Yeah, but we were there for what, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and three cars, and like I said, this was after 9 o'clock at night. So, but well, let me bring that up because we took the pictures at night, so I don't have the best picture. But on our Instagram page, which we'll post on our Facebook group, you see how wide the bridge is and the lanes. So this is I was staying at the end that his car would have been facing. So, well, yeah, if you see that light in the background right back here, well, crap. But if you see that light right there, that's the house, ain't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
that's
literally right at the
yeah.
end of the bridge, like not even 2 feet. It feels like.
Because didn't you say you thought somebody had come out of the house?
Yeah, I got nervous because there was somebody. I didn't think I saw someone walking around. I didn't know if they were like looking at us or just doing something at their house.
Well, they could have been looking at us.
Yeah, because we're just like walking around.
But as you could tell, like.
And you were being kind of loud with your petrifiedness.
Yeah, but you could kind of see the sidewalk and everything. Like it's quite tall. Like I could understand, like if somebody was there, like you would bump the door. So that just makes it kind of interesting with that aspect of what was going on there. So that's one thing to look at. Okay, let me see. I know the car that he drove, but let me go back to double check. I don't want. It might have been on the actual message. Me talking. How everything
Probably
was.
not, because they don't seem like they've done their job at all as cops. So
I personally don't think they did either. Like, I really don't.
And I highly doubt it because they don't have a good rep right now.
I've always kind of wondered if that was one thing they done was possibly fingerprints. Or if I can find the. And he drove a Volkswagen for the Jetta. So yeah, it don't set very high. So that could explain.
I always
Part
wonder
of
how tall people get in little small cars.
a BB can.
Like comfortably, like how do you keep like getting that low and getting up and stuff?
Yeah. So, which I'm not sure how tall those cars set, but I don't think, like I said,
It
the
looked
picture.
low in that
Yeah,
picture,
my car don't set very high
like
either.
riding on the ground.
Sure, we need whenever next time we go back up there, we need to test that out actually and see if that actually.
Put the car in the middle of the road?
No, just well, we'd have to kind of stop and actually see if you could see if the door bumps up against it, the sidewalk. Like it'd be very, very close. Me personally, right here, I would think it would hit the door, and you wouldn't be able to. Sorry if you heard my stomach rumbling.
um, in the middle of it?
No, just anywhere on it. Because sidewalks are normal sidewalks, like it's about that high, probably. Like your
We're
door.
talking about the door.
Yeah, I'm talking about if you open the thing.
Oh, if you pulled over? I thought you meant from the middle of the road.
No. Well, you'd have to be on the bridge to open it, but you have to make sure nobody's coming just for you to open the door, and then.
Well, yeah, but if it was in the middle, I don't think it would hit it. No,
No, it wouldn't. If you're over in the middle lane, yeah, you wouldn't hit it. You'd be too far out. Yeah. But this is what really got me too in that article. Uh, and the older couple, had told them that there was another couple walking on the bridge at the same time. And when the guy who contacted her asked what was going on, the couple, well, okay, the guy that contacted her asked the couple, what was going on. The couple said they thought someone had jumped. And said they walked up to the edge of the bridge, saw the paramedics all around, and then they saw him laying down there. Why, like, I don't know. Because if they thought they saw it, like, did they see the whole incident, see him jump, anything?
I think they probably just assumed because there was like an empty car, and then they probably heard the commotion down there and was like looking for where this person would be, and you see a body down there. Like my first thought would be like, oh, like he jumped. Like I wouldn't have thought anything different with only that information.
I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. 'Cause I was talking to her about this with the couple. I'm pretty sure. Because it just throws me off with, like, just about it. Well, here it talks about an area that lives there in the old house and met the nephew. We were at the bridge, and he comes out and checks in, and he said that he noticed a lot more activity going on the overpass lately. But I just don't get, like, why the couple, like, did they actually see anything happen or what?
They probably just saw the car there and was like, why is this car on the bridge?
Okay, yeah, this I just found where she was mentioning that because he kept saying that he got on his way to college on August 20th from Morgantown. It's not true because her father, or his grandfather, had followed him that day as his furniture. And they said, when I guess they said, I told the state police that, and they said, well, he was behind him the entire time because they could have just met along the road. And she said he would not make a drug deal along the interstate.
No, I don't think anyone would on the interstate.
And she said he wouldn't be buying it from anyone in Huntington he didn't know, and that
Oh, hell no.
he had bought some weeks prior, bought an ounce that he would have enough to last him along the time. And she said a lot of people didn't know he smoked weed, that he was a very proud person when it came to that. He had an image to maintain for the younger kids.
It's nice to think that way. To like be mindful of children looking up to you.
And like, yeah, it's just. I'd have to. I can't remember where. Just, I'd have to go back far on that or look see which ones. But she's saying, still goes back to the point, if she's saying an old lady lived there, this was last year, just in August, well, not even a year ago. So if that's the same old lady that lived in that house, like, where did this young couple come from? Because there's houses on up the way, I can't remember if there was a car, if they had been in a car. I want to say they were. It was red. If I remember the picture, I could be wrong. Because I just don't see, like, did they drive by the bridge when it happened? Like, I don't understand what was going on there with that couple. And it talked about that they were told that his car was running, and it wasn't. So that means they shut off the car, and the couple was walking across, seemed a little too calm for people who said they just had seen someone jump off a bridge. So here it says the guy said that he'd seen him go off the bridge. So I don't understand that. Do you?
What's the truth?
So did they witness it? Yeah, did they actually witness it, or did they not witness it? I find this
I hate situations like that because, like, someone's not telling the truth, and probably no one is ever going to know what the actual truth is.
A lot of that, it's just weird because most times you get like the theories and conspiracies, that people's connected, which is very possibility. Because this boy, he's not from here. So if anything happens to him, they could, and if all the other people are local, they could just be like, when well known in the community, just basically put it underneath the rug type thing and be like, oh, it's this. Like, that's what I don't understand with all of it. Okay, never mind. I overlook those. Yeah, he was there just for 4 or 5 minutes total. Okay, I found it. It's the message is what I was looking for. But yeah, they came around the curve. We noticed a gold car stopped almost in the middle of the bridge. We noticed the driver's door was wide open as we pulled at the beginning of the bridge. We sat there for a few seconds trying to process what was going on. I noticed a younger couple walking back off the bridge towards us because they had parked okay, they parked their car and shouldered slash driveway to the right side of us. I got out and started towards the gold car. And as I passed the couple, I asked them what happened. And the guy said, I think somebody jumped. I continued toward the gold car. As approaching the car, the police department officer was pulling up in front of the gold car, jumped out quickly and began looking over the railing. He made it to the railing just a few seconds before I did. I then looked over the railing, but all I could see was paramedics hovering over someone as they were working on them. I turned away and looked back at the officer. He said something like he needed to shut the bridge down. I head back to my car and we left. The gold car wasn't running. It was stopped in the center of the road. I remember telling my wife that there was many simpler and easier ways to achieve that outcome of a person choosing to commit suicide. I remember leaving the scene thinking that it was too strange to be suicide. I think you're right. Investigating for yourself. This is where he's talking to his mother. That just, well, then he's put the shoulder driveways to our left. The car on the pull off was either white or silver, small car like a Civic Honda or something, and Elantra. The couple were kind of dressed up like maybe they were on a date or something. I didn't notice um, any blood anywhere, but the closest I got to the cold car was 10 feet, so I didn't see any inside of it. And yes, send me a pic and I'll tell you what I know. So with the car, I just wondered because I don't think it's actually the no. His car's driving the same direction. I still just don't get why. So it's facing this. I just don't get the whole. I still don't get that. Why would? So he said the guy was about 5'8", stocky, slightly chubby, with a short beard, dark hair. My impression was kind of nerdy, but figured that they were in their 20s at least. But they didn't. Yeah, all the pictures that she had sent, it wasn't any of them. Like, but they were just casually walking back. Let me double check on because what's weird. He said the second one got there a couple minutes after the first. Just as the time I referenced, I was only there 3, maybe 4 or 5 minutes total. So what? Like my whole thing is, he's saying I'd say between 5:30 and 7. So this happened all what was it, like 7 o'clock, right before 7. So that would be enough time for the cops to respond, wouldn't it? Because it definitely would have been well after 5:30, I assumed. So, but the couple, like, would they have had to spoke to the couple? Like, if the cop got there while the couple was still there, wouldn't they have had to pull them off to the side?
Yeah. I mean, they would be supposed to, but
Because this guy's saying,
they don't do
that he
their
had
job at
seen,
all.
like, that's what I'm kind of runs my brain because you would think since they were in that area and might have seen what happened, wouldn't they have said something to him? Be like, hey, what's going
Well,
on
they're
here?
supposed to, but they don't do their job correctly at all, so
They just don't seem right. Okay. Oh crap. But I had posted, like I said, in the group earlier, and I wanted to talk about this real quick before we go. It's a little bit longer than I thought we would be doing tonight. Um, but a girl I went to school with, she said, I'm glad you're doing this. I drove past him after he was found and surrounded by first responders, and she knew it wasn't suicide. See the energy, but spiritual doesn't count. But the way they had both lanes closed, trucks and vehicles blocking anyone from seeing the scene, it was after a couple hours. after they found him when I drove by. It would have been obvious self-inflicted. They would have cleaned up and went about their day, you know. And I've read some articles on Facebook when it happened talking about how the coroner said he was dead before he hit the ground. And the police report stated the way he landed seemed as if he was rolled off the bridge. He landed on his side, not back or head or feet, which is what they typically see from a jump. Because
Yeah.
didn't they say that he landed on his left side? Because most of the impact was on the left side. Like, well, I don't know. The one said he was like he jumped on a trampoline with the arms and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was her comment, and she said she was going to try to find the post and share that talks about how the stories all matched up. And then, after questioning multiple times by different investigators, the stories changed, especially the females. From what I understand, no one saw him fall, no one saw a vehicle up there, or saw him walking anywhere during the time. So she can't remember for sure, but I don't know. It's kind of weird that if you remember like all of that, it seems like a lot of the stuff has changed. And I kind of would agree too that you would think if it was suicide, like they said, that they would have just been situated and done with, not hours later. She said she drove hours later. I can't remember exactly when the bridge, well, not when the bridge, but when everything was opened back up. And we'll probably go into this more into the next video because I really want to kind of get more input on it before we talk about it. Because I find this kind of interesting and makes me kind of wonder on some things. But I believe that'll be it for this video. Like I said, we're a little bit late getting started. She had to basically pamper up.
Well, sorry.
Well, we've had a big day, so
I needed some self-care.
yeah, I know. But thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to hopefully, as long as everything goes normal, and we'll try to have a video scheduled for next weekend, possibly. If not, sooner, but I figure we might try to do one every Saturday. That gives us time to do because it's hard to do stuff during the week with everything going on and work and stuff. And it's easier to stay up late after the kids go to bed because I didn't go to bed till like after midnight, like every night, and then get up before 7 for work. So it gets rough. But we thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.